Good evening, everyone. So today in my session, it's not going to be a usual session which I'll be talking throughout. It's going to be a code lab as the most Google events would identify. Like it's a code lab which I'm going to go through with you guys. But before that, I have a few things that I need answers from you guys, really. Because I know you guys have been listening to talks throughout the day, and you guys just had the opportunity to listen to Vibhav's talk, which he was also talking about what an agent is, what is LLM, and all those conceptual items. So from you, then I'm going to be running around. I might need a mic, and I'll be asking a few questions, very, very basic questions which I need answers from. And while we are working on the code lab, I will also be open for questions, because I'll be much more open to make this session a much interactive session, so that if you guys have questions around, like, okay, you could ask questions on the specific topics that I'm talking about. If not, many people are having issues with now, okay, what could engineers' life would be when AI is there, and things like that. So anything you want to clarify, you could throw at me while we're at the code lab as well. So for those who have like somewhat experience, some level of experience on basic engineering principles, you can just directly follow this QR code to get to the code lab, because this is going to be a hands-on session for you guys. It's better if you guys can pair up, and because I know the seating arrangement is a bit of a problem for you to have a laptop for everyone. So this will give you access to the code lab. And if you guys have taken a snap of it, the next is you guys will be needing some GCB credits for this. So through this link, you'll get, if you follow this, it's a self-guided process to get some credits on your account. Right. If you have taken the snaps, let's go to the questions now. All right. Fine. I have the mic with me. I'm only going to take about 5 minutes. So, sorry. Right. So I'll keep it here. Right. What is generative AI? Can someone answer? If these are like very simple questions, if you have been here throughout the day. Can someone raise your hands? If you prefer to answer without the mic, that's also okay. Yes.
Something that you can generate a text. Based on the text, you can generate video, image, or audio, effect, or something like that.
Yeah. That's correct. So yeah, something, a technology which we can use to generate different modalities like images, text, using that. Then what is an LLM? Can anyone raise their hands for that from this side? At least one of you should have an answer to this. No? Yeah. Show the mic. Okay.
A large language model is a pre-trained transformer that is predicting the next word.
Yes, somewhat. Okay. Fine. Then I think you just listen to what an agent is. Fine. Tell me what is an agent. Anyone from this side? Yeah.
A system which tries to simulate the way humans think, and it tries to get an action done by calling tools and interacting with different.
Exactly. Right. Great. Fine. Let's just quickly see the defs and. Right. Yeah. So, as you said, LLM. I'll start with LLM because Gen AI we just talked about. LLM is an AI that can generate human-like text and understand the nuances of language. This is the basic definition, and it requires an input. It takes an input, which can be a text or query, piece of text, or even images. Any also sort of an input, and then it processes the text and finds out the closest using its own matching algorithms, and then outputs the response. So it has tokenization and pattern recognition techniques inside, which breaks down the text into smaller units we call it tokens, and then they analyze them to identify patterns which are much more matching. Because when you first throw something at it, it doesn't have the context, so it tries to find patterns and then build up answers based off of the patterns, right? And we talked about agents. So multimodal AI is again. So it's basically like dealing with multiple data types, and multimodality is that. And then MCP, because I'm going through these words because these acronyms because they are all needed in the code lab, because otherwise there's no point of going through that, right? And then ADK, I think you just listened to what ADK is in the previous topic, then previous speech, so I'm skipping that. So A2A protocol is literally a protocol which Google introduced, where like you can use A2A to communicate between agents. It's a protocol which gives you a bunch of tools or a bunch of interfaces which you can communicate with agents, and all. With this A2A protocol, there are multiple partners or else already onboard partners which is available as of now, which they have already pre-built support for Google A2A. So if you have integrations with any of these within your applications, within your multi-agentic applications, you can directly use the A2A protocol to interface with that, right? Now, then we have to talk about, because many people think this A2A protocol and MCP are just one thing, or they're confused about what they are. So this is to simplify that concept, where A2A protocol is just completely to deal with agents or multiple agents, or handle the collaboration or communication between agents. And MCP is something which empowers agents, which gives agents access to the outside world by interfacing to third-party services. You can call your own APIs using MCP, right? If you can spin up an MCP server, it can talk to a REST API of your own, and there are it literally empowers the agent's capabilities. So that's the main difference. And then there's another confusion between when it comes to agents, you have agents which are dealing with an LLM or agent, there are non-LLM agents also. Then some people might ask, why do we then need, okay, when it comes to microservices, is a non-LLM agent a microservice? No, right? They have their own differences. So when it comes to LLM, yes, the purpose of it is literally an LLM agent, or else an agent it's autonomous. It can handle tasks, and it can make certain decisions. But when it comes to microservices, it encapsulates the domain logic and literally works as an API which is stateless. So state is literally LLMs or agents. Sorry, I'm using the word LLM. So agents can be stateful, right? Or even reactive, but microservices are usually stateless, right? And then when it comes to tooling, agents can use tools via MCP, and microservices you need another service to interface with to get access to external support, right? When it comes to communication, microservices got standard communication methods. We have REST, gRPC, GraphQL, and so many. And agents, they use A2A, which is also somewhat new technique. So fine. So let's go to the code lab. So whoever followed the code lab already, I think you can get through the first few steps very easily. It's because like in this code lab, what we are going to do is it's just, there's a predefined or pre-built app, simple web app, which talks to a Spinner database. I'll tell you what Spinner is in the next few minutes, right? It talks to the Spinner, and what it does is it's just create a small social network to arrange meetups, right? So it identifies if you have a circle of friends, it identifies the common interest between the circle by using the graph database, and then using that, it identifies, then it has a separate agent which talks to, which can search Google through APIs, and then it queries Google to find out better locations, and plan the event, and then post in the social network. So that's what it does. It has about 3 or 4 agents, right? And they will work with each other in this case. I'm not going to run every single step of the code lab because it will definitely run more than an hour if I do so. Therefore, you guys can follow the code lab because it's self-explanatory. So I'll only highlight the most important points out of it, right? Fine, let's get to the code lab. Fine, so give a second to refresh this. Okay, now, in this case, we are going to build about 4 agents which are listed here. So one is to profile the users that are in the graph, right? And take their interest, and then then next one is the event planning agent, which based off of the interest, it goes and search for locations. And then third one is the interaction, which finalizes basically takes the 2 inputs and then creates the interaction, which is the post, right? And then the orchestrator is the one which controls, as in gives access to all these three agents, because your web application will directly talk to the orchestrator, right? Fine. Then, in terms of setting up, you guys can start here. I think you guys can simply follow these steps, because these are like pretty much simple. You have to activate the Cloud Shell and then sign into the console and open the terminal and the editor, which is inbuilt in the cloud. You don't have to install anything on your laptop. You can do this entire code lab in your laptop, right? And then clone the preset project, and then we'll take about 2 minutes if you guys have any issues setting this up. I'll come to you in case if you have questions or if you are stuck. We'll take about a minute or two. Okay, meanwhile, while I'm running around, if you have general questions which I mentioned at the start of the session, you can throw at me. I'm open for any question. Yeah. If you are stuck at any point, please raise your hand. I'll come to you. We don't need to take time to understand the nuances in the code level as of now, because just focus on the output you're getting. Output as in understanding the concept around. Because now, these days, like, it's like knowing the concepts behind like programming languages and behind any development framework is really, it's good. It's a must thing for anyone. But with the tooling we have, with AI, with like as an example, we have IDEs which are completely powered by AI, like Cursor, Windsurf. With those, coding has become extremely straightforward, but you have to become someone who can who can really who has demand in the industry. You can become one of those if you really understand the underlying concepts really well. Fine. I hope that's enough time for setting things up. Right. Now, if you have the basic setup right now, like as in if you have authenticated and if you have cloned the code and if you have the code on your pane like this, as you see, and then we are all good. And then fourth step is to set up the graph database. Graph database, again, Spinner is a service available in G Cloud, which can spin off. It's highly it's production ready. It can be used for highly scalable, the application which requires extreme availability. It supports. It's mostly relational, but it also has a really good graph representation, which I will show you in a bit. Right. So with this, you are initiating the DB. And you have some sample queries here for you to take a look and play with it and see. So we are still in the initiation. So we'll at least try to define one agent and then try the A2A capability. Right. So this is really cool. This is a very cool feature where you can you can see your graph in a very interactive way using the Spanner browser itself. Because like it has, if you go to the code in the init, in the setup.py, you can see the code which populate the database. So that's already there, right? Right. Then fine. So if you are here, if you have come here, then you can just raise your hand. Then we can go to the next step. If not, if you have questions, because up to this, there's nothing to do with agents or anything related to this topic. Therefore, we'll quickly go through this since the time is limited. Okay, I see a few hands then. Okay, now what we are going to do is we have the basic web application, which is this, which is a feed, right? Which is an event feed, and which is a wall which you see all the posts from the users. Right? If you are here, then we will get to the next step, which is we will build the first agent, which is the planner, right? So the planner literally means like you can. So here, what we are trying to do is when you provide the context, as in when you provide what sort of, where do you want to hang out and when, then it'll go and do the search, like Google search, and this agent simply searches the Google search, do a Google search, and then get back with results. Fine. So here, like you can see how it's defined, right? As the previous speaker spoke to you about how to define an agent. So you have these two imports, and then you have the model, you have the name. These are the basic elements which comes with the framework. So you're giving it all the instructions here, right? So it says take the date range as an input, and then it guides you to, okay, so like consider these things as these ABC points when you are doing your search. So, and it understands and then does like performs a search. So we can look at it through the ADK web. We'll simply, if you run this in the terminal, and your application won't use this. This is the interface which Vibhav was explaining as well. It's just for testing purposes as to see whether your agent is working properly as expected. So this is the planner, because I have all the agents spinned up. So I'll see multiple. So we'll say we just say take the same command and run it to see. Right, so it likewise, it asks for inputs. Okay, it asks for the dates, like all the inputs that you have mentioned. And then it'll give you, spit you the output. And while you are interacting with this, see, then it asks for your interests as you have explained in the agent definition, right? Now, up to this, if you have questions, you can ask. If not, like you just raise your hand if you are stuck at any point. So this is simply why, like, because this code lab actually gives you the 360-degree view of defining agents, defining multimodal agents, and establishing interactions, and then MCP and all those aspects. But as the previous speaker mentioned, when you are working on a real application or a production grade or a real solving a real problem, you guys need to be very careful and on the usage. Do you really need an agent, or can this be a simple service, which is simple web service? That's something you should always question, right? Now, and then we are creating the MCP server. So fine, I'll take another round to see, I'll mention any important points in this step, but if you have questions, please raise. Could be anything. I can see a lot of you are trying out and still progressing. If you have issues with redeeming the credit or the initial setting up, just raise your hand, I will come to you. Anything to clarify? This side? I have actually highlighted them. Yeah. Again, okay, he wanted me to remind you to, if you guys need access to cloud credits, this is the link. I'll just keep it here. Okay, Now on this one, we are simply using MCP to interact, for the platform to interact with, and then the next to build is a workflow agent, right? So in terms of the structure, if you open any of your agents, what you see here is literally the default structure which comes with the framework, right? Which lets you define, right? So if you go, this is the main, literally the lifeblood of any of the agent, the agent.py. There you define the agent's logic, agent's whole lifetime, and the instructions, if you are using an LLM agent. And this Docker file here is because we are running these agents, like the basic two base agents in Cloud Run. So we need to Dockerize it to run on Cloud Run. And then A2A server is the one which we use to establish the collaboration, or else establish the interfacing between the two agents. Right. Okay, I have only 7 minutes. So when establishing the agent-to-agent communication, so when you are using Google A2A, this is something very important where we need to give an identity to all your agents using this. They use a concept called an agent card, which defines the capabilities and which defines the skill set that the agent has, and then which defines the authentication access, so like define the authentication protocol for each agent, right? So here, when you are exposing an agent, what you have to do is you have to first define the agent card, and then listen. There has to be a listener, which is also defined in the protocol itself. And then you have to manage the execution by just running the A2A. A2A server will run there, right? And then the final step here is literally the orchestrator agent, which is basically interfacing with your web application, which works with all these three agents, which is the event planner, social event planner, and the post creator, and the integration agent, which is basically talking to the MCP server, right? And then right here, this is the final, this is the one which you will be running the orchestration agent. You will be running it on like Vertex AI, because it needs scalability. Therefore, running it on Vertex AI gives you a lot of inbuilt, because it's like deploying it on Kubernetes. It comes with its own strengths. Then once we run it, you will come here. Which is the actual, which you can test the orchestration. You can select the users that you want to interact with, and and then you can pick the location. Right, and this also gives you a simple live logging window. Sorry, that was fail. Fine. Which will create the event right here, and you can simply visit the event and go and look at the users and all that, right? So this actually, if you go through this code lab, you can literally understand how the whole agent interactions work and how the model context protocol, because now you have an agent and the agent needs to talk to Google search. That's done through MCP and likewise. So you'll understand the entire 360 degree through this. Now, if you want to trace, you can connect this with trace as well, and you can simply see how's the health, and you can also go through the logs through trace, right? So since we have about 3 minutes, I'm open to more questions, and I'll do a round again so that to see where you are. Okay, people are still working on it, but you guys can continue working. But since it's towards the end, I'll end with a bit of a note on, because I had some questions. If you have questions, please send here. Okay, I have one question, I'll take one. I'm building a voice AI agent, but it's frequently taking multiple unnecessary tool and LLM calls. As a result, the agent doesn't behave according to the base prompt instructions. Do you have any suggestions of to fix this issue? Okay. So I need more context as to like what sort of integrations you have done on this. So please meet me offline after the session so we can talk about it, because I need more context to understand because depending on the service you use, the issues may change, right? So it says, can we train this agent using our knowledge base? For example, using our website, of course, right? So this graph database I showed you, it was populated using a set of seed data, right? But if you want to use your own website, you can simply use a scraper, right? And there's a thing called VectorDB. If you can search, you can simply push the data or else push the scraped content. There are enough Python scrapers that you can use. You can push the scraped content into a VectorDB and point the VectorDB into an LLM, or an agent can simply query a VectorDB. There are enough integrations. You can see samples anywhere. So that's pretty straightforward. And then to end, since we have 22 seconds, well, the world has become really challenging for the conventional software engineers now, right? Since you guys are mostly from the industry, I'll say people are thinking whether to step out, like, or what would be our future. There's a bit of a uncertainty there. So since we are from the industry and we still do hire people, only thing is, like, if you want to differentiate, if you want to shine in the industry, you can see, if you see the hiring pipelines in anywhere, it's extremely hard to hire proper talent, as in proper engineers. Plus, you can see there's a bit of a gap, as in you don't see as many as vacancies as you have seen in the history. But it's purely because of the industry is changing, because since we have things like IDEs like Cursor, Windsurf, because we are using it at Surge also, like we are using it like really actively. We have piloted it with about 60 people, and not to wipe code, but just to make, like, generate parts of the codes and we use them for our reviews. And the thing is, we have seen that we can save up to about 50% of the development, like developers' effort or time by using these tools. But what really helps you shine is literally how good you are in terms of the concepts, how deep you understand what you know, plus how well you understand the business content, and how well you can relate what you build to the actual business context or business, like actual problem you are solving, and how well you can understand the pain points of your client. And that really helps you to shine, because that's the only point which actually we see many people are lacking. So try to improve on those areas, and then you will definitely be able to shine in the industry. So it's not going to be in, at least for the next, let's say, so for proper engineers, you have a long way to go still. Right, thank you. If you have any questions, we can meet out offline, and I could answer them, because I am still seeing a bunch of you working on the lab. If you have any point where you are stuck, I can help you out. Thank you.